Hey, what's up guys, it's Oakley, and someone at CA forgot to turn off the media fire hose because the information just keeps on coming out, gushing out, so there's a ton to cover. Today is going to be another blog post on early adopter bonuses and post-launch support, so mostly dealing with Warhammer 2, but we do get some pretty interesting tidbits of information when it comes to history, because one of the things they're warning about here is, hey, with all this information coming out, it's overwhelmingly fantasy and Warhammer based, and so that might alienate some of the historical players who are itching for that history news. And so finally CA does tease us with a little bit of information here, and they say in fact we currently have more historical releases planned in the next 12 months than fantasy. So that's super interesting, because if you put it on the scoreboard, well, we know Warhammer 2 is going to be coming out, and so that's one on the board, plus the early adopter DLC, so that's presumably two. And if you look at history, well, they have to at least equal or exceed 2. So that means that we're going to see a lot of history stuff coming around. So what type of form could that take? Well, they previously stated that there's kind of 3 different games that they're developing. One that's going to be a DLC, either for Attila or Rome 2. In my eyes, that's going to be an Alexander the Great type campaign. The other one they said is going to be the Total War Saga that focuses on a particular character or a very focused historical setting, and it's going to function a la Fall of the Samurai, whereby it kind of builds off a previous game and extends the time period a little bit further or earlier, but still is very much that game, just revised, updated to have new mechanics and certain things, but kind of it builds upon it, and it's its own standalone title with everything you'd expect from standalone. But that being said, those are the first two that I would imagine are probably the ones they're talking about here when they're talking about matching or exceeding the amount of fantasy releases. The last one, which is going to be, again, another full title, but this last one has been teased to be a historical period that we haven't covered just yet. So in my eyes, I think CA is going to save that one to be last, because it is kind of the freshest. It's going to have a lot more riding on it. Because in my eyes, if they release kind of this new toy to us, second, and then after that one release something that's built upon a previous Total War game, it's going to, by contrast, seem pretty poor. So I think it makes sense that they're going to put the flashy, dangly new toy at the very end of that. So essentially, the way you can read this is, yep, within the next 12 months, we'll be getting that DLC release for the historical title and that saga release. So that's really cool news. Next, moving on to early adopter. This stuff is pretty sweet, actually. They're doing the early adopter bonus a little bit different. So they said they've learned about the Chaos Warriors kind of blowback that people had in the Game 1. And so CA is taking the consumer-friendly approach, whereby you will get this early adopter bonus up until, even after a week of release of the game, so you have time to judge the game whether or not you like it, see full reviews, and still cash in on that early adopter bonus. So that's pretty consumer-friendly. After a week's time, it's not exclusive. You can get it if you want to pay. But then another interesting thing that's kind of paired up with the early adopter bonus is towards the end here, they say it's one of the first ones where they've done where the new bonus content is for a game that's already out. So this DLC, very interestingly, is going to be applied back into Warhammer 1. And I guess thus incentivize players who haven't gotten Warhammer 1 to get it if they get Warhammer 2. But anyways, that's going to be really cool, and it's going to come out prior to the release of Warhammer 2 as well. So this is kind of innovative type stuff, and it's definitely going to kind of send off Warhammer 1 with some cheers, and I think it's going to make a lot of people happy and get them back into the campaign. So that's kind of it. They said they're focusing a lot more on polish of it. It's going to be having some unique mechanics, and we're supposed to think of it more along the lines of Bretonia than Chaos Warriors. So Bretonia is particularly well received because, as they state here, unique start positions for factions, lots of units, and unique, flavorful, and strongly differentiated race mechanics. So we can expect that. As for what exactly this faction is going to be for Warhammer 1, it's kind of all but confirmed that they're going to be doing Norska. I mean, this image back here is very iconic of tribes to the north with the fur and the leather. We also see a little bit of teasers of stuff that they've posted having to do with snow and the winter and all that. So it's kind of confirmed that it's going to be Norska. That being said, they did say that there is going to be more information dropping soon. The reveal does come this week, and they're going to be showcasing a campaign playthrough of that faction later this week, so stay tuned for that. Then they talk about Warhammer 2 DLC, so they say the kind of additional content team is already busy working on Warhammer 2 DLC. They've got some great Lord packs, they say, and a first big expansion that they are already developing. So in this one, they said it adds a whole new race. And the interesting mechanic here when they talk about is for this expansion, in the past, their campaign packs have kind of had a duality to them where they introduce a new faction with legendary lords and units, but it also comes with a mini campaign. They said that for this expansion, they're doing away with the second half of that. They're doing away with the mini campaign. As a result, that allows them to focus a lot more on the faction's uniqueness itself and presumably pump out a lot more legendary lords. So basically that's what they're saying here. The first large DLC for Warhammer 2 is to swap out the mini campaign for 2 more additional legendary lords for a total of 4 playable lords in that pack. And I think that's a lot of value because at the end of the day, Warhammer, or Total War in general, is a sandbox, and the mini campaigns are very much a very small, tiny sandbox that just doesn't give you, like, you can play it once through, maybe twice, and it's a little bit more variety. But if you put 2 more additional lords into the main campaign, that's where the real sandbox feature is, and that's where whatever work you did into creating a customized faction, that's where it'll get a lot more mileage in a bigger sandbox as opposed to a small one. So I think it's a great payoff. I think people are going to be very excited about that, especially with unique start positions and the way they can really make that play differently. And it really depends on what that faction is going to be as well, just what this means. Some people have been speculating that it is going to be the Tomb Kings. I know there was kind of a series of arguments people were putting up before saying, no, it couldn't be the Tomb Kings, because CA would have to save one of the big substantial races for later on in Warhammer 3. But, I mean, they're pitching this to be a pretty big one, so we'll have to wait and see. So this is all kind of very interesting stuff, but good. I really like how CA is being transparent. I really like the fact that we're going to be getting history stuff hitting really soon, and I imagine when this stuff hits us, man, there's going to be such a flurry of news. It's going to be absolutely bonkers. So that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for the rest of that content they say is going to be revealed this week. And yeah, we'll probably be seeing some Norska, like a trailer, and then also some gameplay. So yeah, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for more, and see you in the next one. Peace out.